Hi folks, today I'm going to show you how I deal with the backside of my wood burnings. Here's a wood burning I did. I like to sometimes, not always, paint a nice metallic color around it, just finishes it off nicely. And then if things worked out really good, I can just paint the back and then I put my label on and my hang tag. And for those of you who craft, you know labels. Don't like labels. Sometimes they peel off. Okay, this one has left a little bit of residual, and this I don't mind sanding down a little bit because I can sand that off and it doesn't have all the print. Also, the back of this wood, you can see, they sort of put this crazy plug in. Not a big deal, but I want the back of this to look nice. And then, of course, when the label doesn't peel and it does this, you have the outline of the sticker and you have all the print on it. If you just paint over this, you're going to be able to see that there is still a sticker there. Cocktail napkins. You can usually get them cheap. Try to get a nondescript kind of neutral color pattern for the back. Whatever you want. They come with a ply. And to separate them, I'll tear a corner off because that makes the edge ragged. And there's actually two pieces of the white. Sometimes I get lucky and I can peel them both off at the same time. There you have it. Now, as you can see, because I peeled it apart, you can see through it. I peel them apart because it takes a lot more liquid medium to get it to stick. It sticks a lot nicer if it's just the one ply. I am using Minwax water-based polyacrylic. It's what I finish off the fronts of them with. And I just use it on the back. To start, I get a good layer on my wood, all the way out to my edges. You don't want to have it dripping onto your outer edge, but you want to make sure it's wet. And once I have a layer on that, I take my cocktail napkin and I lay it down. To avoid tons of wrinkles, it will wrinkle because when it gets wet, it kind of puckers a little bit. But to avoid colossal air bubbles and wrinkles, go from the center out. You have to be a little bit gentle with this because if you scrub it too hard, pull it too hard with the paintbrush, it will tear. But if it does tear, just rip off a small piece and patch it up. Now, if I don't have the label on there, if I got the label off pretty good, but I've got strange imperfections that you might be able to see if I painted it. So this piece was pretty clean on the back, so I can get away with just using the one, and I am going to set that aside and let it dry. Now, when I have a situation like this, where you can't get rid of the label, you can't, it's driving you nuts. And you don't, when you use the one ply, you're going to be able to see the label, and I'll show you. So I've got my polyacrylic on there, and I'm going to lay my paper down. And again, going from the center out. And I can see, because I've only used one piece, I can see my label information, my barcodes. And this is where I can just take another piece Make sure I got plenty of poly on there. And I can just lay another piece down. Again, I'm going from the inside out. Get rid of any air bubbles. Now I know the label's there. And if I look at this really close, I can still see a little barcode right here. A couple things can happen here. I can put another layer of cocktail napkin on there, or when I put my label on, I can just put my label right there to cover that up. So I am going to let that one dry. I have one that's still a little tacky, but I'll show you. When I'm pulling this off, I'm pulling down and away. I pull down and away. Now all this little extra on here, when this is good and dry, I can take a little bit of sandpaper and run it just on the edge, and it'll clean that up. So that's how I finish off the backs of my wood burning. Thanks for joining me.